So with that, I also wanted to come to the maybe the last part of today's, consciousness dialogue, which is this thing. I have you seen this? So Johannes
Yes, yeah.
Kleiner and the other people have made this written this statement about consciousness research needs to be done more, regardless of whether we stop or given a moratorium on the AI research or whatever, because we need to understand consciousness more. And it looks like Fox News also took our thing probably. I didn't know that, but yeah. So did you sign this thing as a part of that mathematical consciousness?
I did not sign it. I saw it, but I did not sign it. Did you sign it?
I did. Because it was relatively reasonably written, and also it was quite neutral. I don't know whether we should actually stop doing the research. That part is quite orthogonal to me, because even if somebody like Elon Musk said that we should stop it, somebody will do it, right? And from the education point of view also, I think it's really useful for the students to get used to these kind of tools, and then know the the limitation, and then sooner than later, right? Like you said in the beginning, once you start using it, for a couple of cases, and then you'll start to notice that many of the data that's already exists, like let's say huge amount of Wikipedia entry, and also many different dictionary and encyclopedia entry and things like that, like what is category theory, then GPT will give us a very nice summary in a short format, and also very intuitive kind of language, which is actually better than the Wikipedia and the Google, right? However, once you get to, okay, now I understand the category theory, and then what's functor, what's blah blah blah, and then if you go there, and then to start to go to the more difficult level of the question, they start really failing really quickly. And yeah, that's what maybe many people should actually face, right?
Yeah.
And are you using this kind of thing for your student? GPT?
Yeah, so I think it's a great tool to, for example, improve writing. So it really works very well to input some text and say, please improve my writing. But yeah, since it literally confabulates, as you said, I think it's very dangerous at this point, at least, to use and then to trust it. So it confabulates, and I think the danger is that people, because it can do an awesome job in some domains, people do not realize that it's confabulating. And so I worry that people start trusting the output of ChatGPT, where it unlike a human being, it won't tell you when it's insecure. It just says things with conviction. And so that is my main concern, because as you said, especially if you ask it about category theory, we might have had the same experience. It starts saying a lot of nonsense, and that's because it draws from a very limited amount of information. But yeah, I think I agree with you that the statement, I liked also how it was written, and I agree that obviously more research should go into consciousness, including machine consciousness. And I also agree that it's almost interesting that it's almost like an arms race, that as machine learning and AI technology is increasing, so seems to be our understanding of consciousness on a mathematical or rigorous level. And so I agree that this is the good moment to inform people about the progress that has been made about rigorous and formal theories of consciousness, and I agree with all of that, and as well that it gets people to think about consciousness. I just worry about the inverse, that if people really, if this notion that AI is not conscious prevails, then we might face the inverse problem in terms of people then also feeling like we can table the consciousness topic again as well. So that is because I have this maybe unique perspective of AI causing me to see that the old functionalistic ideas about consciousness actually here might get put really to the test. And so far they seem to fail.
So you're saying that in a sense, AI is kind of useful, and then all the useful kind of research is on the side of the function, and the consciousness side is useless. And so we should go back to the more of the functionalist kind of study. Is that what you're worried?
No, it's the opposite. I feel that people don't seem to be convinced that AI is conscious, that ChatGPT is conscious, not at this point. And I'm not convinced that as AI becomes more powerful, that this will change. So that's my concern. And so I think that people should be interested in consciousness, and they should learn about the progress in consciousness for a whole host of reasons, AI being one of them. But yeah, I worry that the link between AI and consciousness might be a fad.
But I'm actually not sure whether your statement about people are more dismissing that AI is not conscious easily. As I said in the conference, I felt that some people, because of this GPT's success and also expansion exponential kind of success, some people do seem to believe that there will be no limit in this progress, and within like 5 years we'll get the thing that pretty much everybody will be convinced that in this version of the GPT 70 or 7 whatever is in fact conscious. And for all the purpose of intents and purposes, because we can't really tell a difference between the human and this GPT future version of that, that's the point where we already understand consciousness by making it, even though we don't know what it is actually feeling. It must be feeling this way because they are behaving that way. Purely functionalistic kind of idea, like unfolding argument idea. Because they behave exactly the same as we are, like Chalmers zombie program realized literally, right? So I think I'm becoming curious about Chalmers or other people's questionnaire study. Do you know that thing that's happening every 5 years or something like that? To ask philosophers across the world how much do you believe in this particular view about consciousness and things like that, or theories of consciousness. And then there is I think an entry of whether artificial entity can be conscious or not. Maybe the proportion has been changing.
Which way do you think has it been changing?
I think many people start to believe that it is more likely that they will be reaching artificial consciousness. You think the other way, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and I see all of this evidence, right? So that people don't see it to be an author, that people ridicule the engineer who said it's conscious, that the patent office doesn't accept it to be patented because there's no mind. So there seems to be a disconnect, right, between that and how maybe the population reacts. And so here's my question. So AI has gotten increasingly better, right? And so ChatGPT is already pretty close to passing the Turing test, right? So, but people still are not convinced. So do you think it's this completely non-linear thing so people are not convinced it's conscious and all of a sudden they are? wouldn't you think that it's more gradual, that that more and more people get convinced, kind of as you said, as the function gets better?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Something, nonlinear can actually really happen at an unpredictable time, right? Like, even with respect to IAT, for example, I didn't really like the version that Julia was talking, in 98, like this complexity and dynamic core hypothesis. And I really didn't care much anything about this. But then he gave a talk at the Caltech, I think it was 2003 or 4, around the time he talked about IAT 1.0. That was a huge step change to me in terms of the convincingness and so prospect and so on. But at that time, I didn't have any idea who can do any research on this. So that was a huge also gap there, right? And then around 2010, I met with Masafumi Oizumi, and he said that we can actually compute this based on this IAT 2.0. And I was like, maybe we can probably start computing this on the neural stuff, and then things gradually happen to make me convinced, right? Something like this can happen. Although I don't think the current GPT or functionalist or pure structurist kind of thinking would do much good, or be convincing or make a huge breakthrough in terms of understanding consciousness. But maybe there can be some kind of huge breakthrough in convincing other people that functionalism or behaviorism is very, very important to our, promise artificial consciousness in a couple of years.
Yeah, I agree with you that the problem is that our intuition is just that. It's just intuition. And that just, as you said, we're getting to parts of the possibility space that our intuition wasn't evolved for. So I totally agree with you with that. But I still find it intriguing that at this point, functionalism really has a problem in that you would look at a person that's sleeping and not doing anything, but you might have a notion that this person is dreaming, fully conscious, right? Or you look at a dog in pain, and it's nothing like ChatGPT. And yet most people immediately feel sympathy and say this is conscious. And at the same time, ChatGPT by most people is just seen as a curiosity. And so this whole debate about consciousness seems so academic or philosophical. So I think we all watch this with wonder, but I'm actually mostly fascinated by that. So it seems that even I feel about myself that at this point, interacting with the AI and feeling that it passes the Turing test so many times, I'm still left cold. There's still a part of me that feels, this is just a pony. This is just a magic trick. This isn't really a conscious mind that I'm dealing with. And it seems so many people share that.
Are you going to ASSC this year in New York?
No, I'm not. No. Okay. Are you going?
One of my students is going, and maybe I can ask her to do some kind of report about that at, this YouTube. But I think that coming back to sort of the frustrating conclusion about the consciousness from a functionalist point of view or whatever, I really think that if we can have this Fourier to information and the information to information and the information to Fourier kind of transfer commutative diagram in a category theory kind of sense, then what we can do is to manipulate this guy to affect on the Fourier, right? Or to make a prediction about the Fourier. And this you can do on ourselves. And this is the thing that's really important. And it becomes clear, probably closer to the reality as we speak. I think the intracranial stimulation has increased over the last 10 years or so. Parvizi has done a huge job, and something like that. I don't know. Do you know the Afra's Arash Afra's recent study on the monkey stimulation thing?
That age, yeah.
Yeah, that's also coming into sort of this manipulation of this to look at this changing qualia kind of experiment, right? If this is the thing that any theory can make prediction, or then our faith to that theory becomes really increased, right?